1 month from Inauguration Day. That means 1 month until theoretically Donald Trump is sworn in as the president. I only say theoretically because what is going on right now is so wacky and wild. We have essentially President Musk. We have Congress fighting, the government potentially shutting down, TikTok potentially going away. So much can happen in such a short amount of time. But I started to wonder today. In fact, I started writing a poem called I Wonder What It Will Be Like in a Month from Now. Or I wonder what it will be like when I read this a month from now, more specifically. Meaning, I'm writing today about what life is like on December 20th, 2024, with the idea that things could be very, very different on January 2025. Now, it is December 20th, so it has been, we're coming up on 2 months since the election now. So it has started to sink in. You know how you wake up from a nightmare and have that, that moment when you realize that it isn't real life and it was just a nightmare. So those days of waking up and be like, hey, Donald Trump has been elected the president, it was the same feeling that I had back when he was elected the first time. But now it sinks in and you start to come to terms with what life might be like. I mean, at the moment, we're approaching having a king who is King Musk, which it's very tempting to call him King Stink because of Musk. Such an easy to make fun of name and person. I know he is very accomplished by the standards that humanity has set up to make certain people better than other people. If you gather the most paper that we have indicated equals power, that you can have many yachts and make many trucks, then that means, I guess, you're better than everyone else. So we have him as our king. And it is very interesting to wonder about what might go on with him and Donald Trump, who is a incredible egomaniac who will not like it when Elon Musk asserts himself as our king. So I'm curious to see what will happen in this month's time, and certainly what is going to happen after January 20 when he assumes the office. Donald, quote unquote, assumes the office of the presidency because, like I just said, it doesn't seem like he's going to really be effective as a president in any way because of the fact that this other guy, I think, thinks he is the president. So the feeling of waking up from a nightmare has somewhat subsided as the will to live a life that has some sense of normalcy and calm and stability has come back over me. And my thought at this point is they're going to do whatever they want. They're going to do what they want. So when I say let them do what they want, I don't mean capitulate or cower or put our heads in the sand, as Democrats or as liberals, or I don't even need to hear those labels. I'm talking about people who want to maintain our freedom. I have said all along that anytime anyone calls me from either side, calls me delusional or head in the sand or ignorant or et cetera, I just point to historical precedent and I point to what is going on around the rest of the world. Look at North Korea. Okay. There's a documentary that is just fantastic called Beyond Utopia, with a family trying to escape North Korea. The North Koreans are they're just shut off from the rest of the world. Now, even in China, you can't, really access the internet like we can here, at least for now. Um, but in North Korea, they live within. It's like North Korea is like the Apple, the Apple computer of countries, shut off from the rest of the world, a closed ecosystem, and that is what I point to when people say you're delusional, head in the sand, crazy. What they say, oh, that can't happen here. Well, it is happening here. So waking up from a nightmare and realizing that, yes, our rights are being encroached upon by people who really have nothing better to do than want to control everyone and everything, because I don't know. They're small downstairs, if you know what I mean. Because look, that's the only, if you're not small downstairs, then you're busy, getting busy. You know what I'm saying? You don't have time to control other people. You're busy and, just enjoying yourself. So tell me you're small without telling me you're small. You know what I'm saying? Um, the reason my head is at the place of let them just do what they want. Again, forget Democrat, forget liberal. I'm talking about the opposition. I'm not saying they should cower or capitulate. Again, I'm saying go through the motions, vote, deny, do what you can within the governmental constraints of what you were allowed to do. But these people, they're ba- I don't even say basically, they're just going to ignore the laws. They're going to ignore the laws. The laws mean nothing to them because they feel the entire cabinet, Trump's entire cabinet, are all billionaires. They feel like, again, we have all the paper. We have the paper. Look at our paper. We trade this paper for a boat. We trade paper for a boat. Um, they feel they are above the law, and now effectually, you know what I mean. They essentially are above the law. Law schmaw. That's their attitude. Is laws were made by man, and we they don't pertain to us. They're made up, and we have all the paper. So one thing that unites us, the one thing that unites all Americans, the far right and the far left, is that we ain't so thrilled with people who have everything trying to take away the little we have. And I have a feeling that if we let them do what they're going to do, we as the people who don't have $1 billion, who don't have $1 million, who don't have all that paper and don't have boats, now we might get a little annoyed with them, and maybe that would help us all kind of unite around a common cause of disliking people who want to take the very little that we do have, the little bits of happiness, the little bits of joy, the little bits of time we have, to use what we have downstairs to to have a moment in our existence that takes us out of the realm of problems and concerns and oppression, to just like living a little bit. If they are going to take away the little bit of living that we're doing, then we're going to have to take away something from them, and all we can take away is their power. If someone else is going to take something else away, well, that is not for me to decide. I am just a man talking into a little microphone in my bed. I was planning on stealing from my local theater, but I am a good person this holiday season. I am working on trying to become successful as an artist, someone who is creating for a living. This is an ill-advised thing for anyone to do. But I've had a long career in the music business, and I would tell you that I just want to do something else with my life at this point, at 52, just shy of 53 years old. And so I have put in effort to accomplish this, but one of those side effects of trying to accomplish such an insane thing is you must be frugal. Very, very frugal. And sometimes when one is frugal, they are pushed to do things that they might not have done otherwise. So in this particular case, as it is Christmas and I am Jewish and have zero reason to be celebrating and frankly do not care, I had convinced myself, like, oh, Josh, you should treat yourself to the movies. Maybe you'll go see the Bob Dylan movie and you'll go see Nosferatu and you'll go see Wicked because everyone's talking about it. It's so good. I'm sure it is. But that's very expensive. Now, I used to have a membership to a local movie theater. So I had done a bit of calculation and was like, okay, well, I'll buy a membership, but I'll buy a senior membership. I'm close enough to senior. I'll just buy a senior membership. And then I'll get money off per ticket. So then I would save a little bit of money and I would, it's a tax write off too, the membership. So I had just, going through those motions of convincing yourself of something that you should not be convincing yourself of in the first place because you don't have the money to be going to the movies. And I had kind of made these calculations in my mind and I figured out when these movies were playing and I was like, ooh, they're playing back to back. What if, Josh, what if you bought one ticket and just like, you know where I'm going with this. What if you buy one ticket and just sneak into the other movies back to back? Now, this theater is not a multiplex where I would feel ethically and morally comfortable with doing this, and also don't feel that I would be risking being caught. But this theater is not that. And then I felt to myself like, well, that would be ethically and morally wrong. I mean, it's ethically and morally wrong, period. It's period. I had just made the calculation that I was willing to live with myself if I had done that at a multiplex, but I could not make the calculation that I would live with myself if I did that at this other theater, which does not deserve anyone doing that. So, and I also thought that Josh, they'll notice. They'll see, like, hey, you've been here all day and you have not come through the door. So what's up? What's up, bro? So I made that calculation. So I decided, okay, well, then I downgraded my capitulation to something I should not be doing anyway, going to the movies and spending money when I'm trying to become a full-time artist. And I decided I would just go see the Bob Dylan movie. Now, I'm a Bob Dylan fan, but I'm not that big a fucking fan to be going to see Timmy Chalamet play Bob Dylan. I just had convinced myself like, oh, I should go to this. Wouldn't that be nice? So I had gotten to the point where I was doing it. I was like, it's Wednesday, it's Christmas. You should go do that. Again, the leaps and bounds to go do something that you don't even really want to do anyway, but you just convince yourself, oh, that's a nice thing to go do. When I went to go buy the ticket, the show was sold out. It was sold out. And I said, Josh, this is a sign. No, it's not a sign, but you're going to treat it like a sign anyway. And when I was listening to a recent edition of the very fine Video Archives podcast, they had mentioned the movie LA Confidential. And I was like, they were mentioning it like no one's seen LA Confidential. They were mentioning it like you can't see LA, like it. But I'm older. I'm almost 53. So to these young people, and this was not if you're familiar with Video Archives podcast, this was not Roger and Quentin Tarantino, Roger Avery and Quentin Tarantino. This was the adjunct, the extra podcast that they do, which is Roger Avery's daughter, Gala, and takes place or is recorded inside a small 20-seat theater they have within the New Vista Theater in Los Angeles, where they show films on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray, and so on, and 16 millimeter. It's quite interesting. I'm sure I'd be there all the time if I lived in Los Angeles. In fact, it was like what he's doing, Quentin Tarantino, what he's doing for cinema in LA is probably the only thing that would make me even visit LA again, because I am not a fan. But that's just lifetime New Yorker kind of thing. So they, on that adjunct show, was talking about LA Confidential, how they're going to show LA Confidential, and I was like, I own a DVD of LA Confidential, and I went to my shelf, and there it was, and I was like, Josh, do that on Christmas Day, watch LA Confidential, and you know what was sitting right there? Because L, how does the alphabet go? A B C D F G H I J K L M N. And what was sitting right there next to it? My DVD of the Bob Dylan, Martin Scorsese documentary, No Direction Home. And I'm like, Josh, again, another sign. No, it's not a sign, but let's treat it like a sign. There's No Direction Home. Watch LA Confidential. Watch No Direction Home. I am trying to save money to the level of where I don't use electricity. This light that I have on right now, that's the only light. Well, my kitchen light is on right now, but it shouldn't be. I should turn that off, because I turned off all my power strips. I don't turn on anything. I just don't, because I'm living frugally. So if you want to buy me a coffee, you go right ahead, link in bio. I am living very frugally because I'm trying to make something happen in my life. So I am going to treat myself to some electricity on tomorrow, Christmas, even though I'm a Jew. We'll get into it one day about how my parents decided we'll celebrate Christmas even though no one was Christian. We were all Jews. They wanted to fit in. It's for the book. Again, artist, living frugally. So I will watch those, and I'm going to make a triple feature. And by the way, I have spent months developing a brownie recipe. That's not a euphemism. Actual brownies. They're all legit ingredients. The reason I did that is so I don't, again, buy, if I want a sweet treat, I don't buy it. I make it. And I have developed a recipe that is effing phenomenal. And I'll publish it at some point. I think we're there. I don't think there are any changes left to make. I'm going to make a pan of those brownies. I'm not going to eat the whole pan. It's not like that. I'm not depressed. But I'm going to enjoy a brownie. I'm going to enjoy my triple feature. I'll figure out what the third movie is. Not sure yet. If you have a suggestion, if you got this far, well, congratulations. And if you're listening to this after Christmas, well, hey, suggest something anyway, because I should be going through my collection. I have a pretty decent collection of films, and they don't get enough attention from me. So maybe I'll turn on the electricity again sometime. A little treat for myself. Maybe on my birthday in February, I'll turn on the electricity. But for now, the plan is on Christmas Day to eat a brownie and watch a few movies and continue to live frugally as I aspire to be an artist for my aging Gen X generation. President Musk, welcome to America via your home in South Africa. It is so nice that we as Americans get to have as our president the richest man in the world. Who knew that it would take this man from South Africa to come in and buy our country via buying our election to get rid of Donald Trump? Because I think we all know that Donald Trump will not be doing very much come January, since we already have President Musk, who did not run for anything, although it would have been cool if he had, because maybe his slogan could have been, I stink. That would have been fun. I don't think that would have deterred anyone from voting for him. Certainly not his mother, who seems to be on the scene. Congrats. Much suffering during the holidays, you speed bump bandit bastard. I need to interject before you continue watching this video. When I recorded this the other day, I was pretty angry at people who go around speed bumps, and therefore I called them bitter speed bump bastards or whatever it was, words to that effect. Now, at the end of that video, when I said that, I broke out in laughter. But you know what? I cut that part out. And I regretted that. And I deleted that video because when I cut out the laughing, it didn't allow you to know that I am good-hearted. I don't really want people to suffer just because they drive around speed bumps, but that might have been the impression I left. So here I am interjecting before you watch this very angry tirade that is about to spew forth from me, so that when you get to the end and I say bitter speed bump bastards or whatever it was, you know that in my heart I don't want people to suffer during the holidays for this incredibly egregious behavior. I just would like them to acknowledge, under duress, under pressure from those of us who do not behave this way, their incredibly selfish and insufferable way of life. You are on my shit list, and that list is growing. The latest addition to my shit list are people who live where I live, where there are speed bumps where I live, and where they put in these speed bumps to, I don't know, to keep people from speeding. People have now taken it upon themselves to drive around the speed bumps. This is not a public road. This is a road within a complex of co-ops, of condominiums. They drive around these speed bumps because I guess they need to get to their parking spot, I don't know, approximately 1/10 of a second sooner. When I see people take the absolutely antisocial, sociopathic, and if I'm going to go there on a Sunday morning, I'm going to say possibly psychotic action of driving around a speed bump, well, then you get onto my shit list. And in fact, a day quite recently, I was almost hit by one of these people because there is an area where the garbage is. And if you are dropping off your garbage, I won't even get into what goes on in that area. That's for a different entry into this series. When you come out of that area to maybe walk to your car, if someone is going around that speed bump, well, it is very possible for them to hit you at a rate of speed that they wouldn't be going if they had not gone around the speed bump. They would have been gone at a rate that probably would have resulted in hospitalization and injury. But this rate, the around the speed bump rate, is a potential unaliving, as they say here on this app. So to you people, now, this isn't people who are just in where I live. I'm sure people who are everywhere drive around speed bumps. I've seen it out in other areas of the public. People who decide that their choice of speed is their choice of speed. And we're not talking about speeding. That's, again, for another episode, not for this one. This is simply related to speed bumps. If you are a person watching this who is completely relating to what I'm saying, then let me tell you right now that we are in solidarity, that those people who do these kinds of things, they deserve the worst things to happen to them. And while my empathy does kick in and I figure, hey, they got something going on in their life that just makes them need to do this in order to have some level of control. Everything else is out of control, but the one thing I can do is go around this speed bump and no one can stop me. That thought does occur to me, but in the moment, especially when I'm almost hit, I really do want them to suffer. I want them to suffer. So if you are watching this and also like feeling like, hey, that would be nice for them to suffer, especially if they suffer during the holidays, then I am with you. And if I could, I would send a card to them signed by you and by me that says, much suffering during the holidays, you speed bump bandit bastard.